Okay, so in the first Sly Cooper game, we meet Sly for the first time, and he tells us that it all like goes back to him bouncing on his father's knee as a little boy, and basically because Sly comes from a long line of master thieves, because that's the family business, and they have this book called the Thievius Raccoonus, which is a collection of all the knowledge that all of his ancestors have gathered about master thievery over. I don't think they give an official timeline exactly of how long the Cooper family has been around, but in the fourth game, we go back in time and we meet Bob, who's a caveman or a cave coon, and that's around when the dinosaurs are still alive. So that's probably like we're probably going to say something like that's. I don't know, that's definitely like tens of thousands of years. And so it's accepted that Bob is the very first Cooper in the line. But as far as when the book actually gets started, that's more complicated. I don't know that one. But Sly's lineage goes back tens of thousands of years at least, back to the times of when cavemen were still around. And so they have this book, the Thievius Raccoonus, that has a collection of all of their thieving knowledge in it across all of their generations. And, everything is great, and, Sly's getting to that age when his father is finally going to pass down the secrets of the book to him so he can start going on his own adventures and collecting his own knowledge and start writing down his own entries. But then this group of criminals named the Fiendish Five break into their home. They slaughter Sly's parents, and then they leave Sly as the only surviving Cooper left. And this is what causes, they leave Sly as the only surviving Cooper left, and then they rip the Thievius Raccoonus up into 5 pieces, and each one takes their own share of the book to what he says the farthest corners of the world. So this causes Sly to end up in an orphanage. And at that orphanage, that's where he meets his 2 best friends for life, and Bentley, who's the brains of the operation, and Murray, who later becomes the muscle, but in the beginning, all that he does is drive the van. And so Sly tells us that their very first, in a later game, he tells us that their very first heist ever was making up this big plan to go steal the cookies from the kitchen in the orphanage. Which is pretty funny. So in the first game, Sly tells us that the very first member of the Fiendish Five that they're going after to get the first part of the Thievius Raccoonus back is Sir Raleigh the Frog, who was apparently born into a life of luxury, but thought it was boring as shit. And so, out of sheer boredom, he tried his hand at piracy and found out that he liked it, and so he devoted his entire life to sort of being a pirate in the modern age. It's a bit weird. And so then he gets hired, and he joins the Fiendish Five as their chief machinist, so he's really good with machines. So Sly, Bentley, and Murray, they all go to what's known as the Welsh Triangle. It's basically like the Bermuda Triangle, but it's up north where those countries are. And we discover that the reason why it's called the Welsh Triangle is obviously because it's the same as the Bermuda Triangle, where ships go in and they don't come out. Same thing with planes and stuff like that. And we learned that the reason why is because Raleigh has built a war blimp that causes that entire area to never ever stop storming. So it's always storming non-stop in the Welsh Triangle because of Raleigh's invention. And so they get there, they see that Raleigh's like up in the sky inside this blimp. And so you start playing through, and first thing you have to do, you got to get past this big gate. And the thing that was different about the first Sly game compared to all the others is that you had to complete each level. Each level would reward you with a key that you would use to unlock the next area of that main mission. So you complete a certain number of levels, get like 3 keys, then you could unlock the next area. So you had to complete 3 levels, the first 3 levels of Raleigh's hideout, to destroy this generator that was creating a gate, an electrical gate that you couldn't get through. You destroy the gate, go through. You destroy the generator, go through the gate. Now you're on the other side, where Bentley tells Sly the only way he's going to be able to get up to Raleigh's blimp is if he shoots himself out of a cannon. Bentley thinks that this is an absolutely psycho idea because he's 100% positive that it will kill Sly. Sly thinks it's awesome because Sly is awesome. You complete some more levels, you get shot out of this cannon straight up into Raleigh's blimp, and you have the boss fight, which involves Raleigh eating a fly, and then he bloats to huge size and he tries to smash you with his ass. And then you beat the shit out of him, and then you get the first page of the Thievius Raccoonus, which unlocks Ryoichi Cooper, Sly's Japanese ancestor, and unlocks his Ninja Spire landing, which was the ability to be able to balance on extremely small points like a ninja, because Ryoichi was a ninja. And so that mission is called Tide of Terror. So that's one of my big favorite things about all the Sly Cooper games. They've always got incredible titles for these main missions that we go on, or these levels. So that one was Tide of Terror, and then Sly explains that now that they've destroyed Raleigh's war blimp, or storm blimp, it'll stop storming around there. And Sly explains in the end that after they defeated Raleigh, the legend of the Welsh Triangle faded into obscurity because the legends ended. So after Tide of Terror is Sunset Snake Eyes, which is where they go to Mesa City in Utah. And it's supposed to be like an Old West style of town, but it's got like these big crazy casinos, and it's supposed to have people everywhere. But they get there and the city is more or less abandoned, but at the same time it's overrun by gang members who are led by the next member of the Fiendish Five in Mugshot, who's a big dog dude. The funny thing about Mugshot is that his arms are so fucking huge that he just uses them to walk around instead of using his legs. So you proceed through the level. You know, there's some cool enemies. Like there's a dude who throws playing cards at you, and like these weird fanning motions, and it's cool like that. And then, you know, it's a really cool level. You get to use the Ninja Spire landing a lot, which is a super iconic move. This main mission has the first racing level, which is where you play as Murray and you go around, you race some gangster dogs. You race some gangster dogs around the track to get a key. That level's kind of hard, but it is pretty fun because it's a pretty strong change of pace from everything else that we were doing. So you fight your way through. You get to inside the casino, or inside the main part of the casino, and you have to collect enough keys to open up this giant door that is Mugshot's face. This giant door that is Mugshot's face. And after you do that, after you open up the face, it reveals that it's an elevator that will take you up to Mugshot's penthouse, which is like a fire hydrant that a dog would pee on. And you do that, you go up there, you fight Mugshot, and his boss fight's cool. You'll use the Ninja Spire landing sort of constantly, or not constantly, use the Ninja Spire landing at the end of the fight, because what he does is he has these big, gigantic, goofy looking guns that he shoots at you, and your job is you're supposed to turn all the mirrors on one section of the boss fight to like make him too hot or something like that, or it ruins his guns or something like that. You do that 3 times for each one, and I don't know, gives a sunburn or something. And then you beat him up, and he talks about the Thievius Raccoonus had a lot of pretty pictures, but way too many big words, which means that Mugshot is stupid. And he tells you that you stand no chance against the next member, who is Ms. Ruby, who's a crocodile that specializes in voodoo. So she's the chief, she's chief mystic for the Fiendish Five. Mystic. So you beat the level, the page, the section that you get from Mugshot is the section from Tennessee Kid Cooper, who specialized in the rail walk and the rail slide. So then we get to Haiti, like an island, or the jungles of Haiti, where Miss Ruby is stationed. And it turns out that in the lore, this is where we prove that ghosts exist, because that's what Ms. Ruby uses as all of her guards, because she uses voodoo in everything that she does. And so you get to use the rail slide. There's a lot of like vines that you can slide on and walk around on. It's pretty cool. You play through the level. There's this big gigantic snake thing that you set free, and it causes havoc to all the guards. There's a bunch of really cool levels. It has a very, if there was a level that had a really like horror sort of aesthetic to it, it would be this one. It's like, because like the part where you let the giant snake free, it chases you through that small level, which is very scary when you're just a little kid playing it for the first time, like I was. But so you discover that Miss Ruby is hiding up inside the head of a giant dead crocodile. Like it's like if you're playing like a game and you see a big ass skull off in the distance, that's basically what it was. She's inside the skull of this thing, and you have to shoot your way up to it, just like you sort of did in the first level when you did it with Raleigh. And you get to her boss fight, and her boss fight it's a rhythm game. You have to press. She'll like throw symbols at you that are the symbols of the PlayStation controller, and you have to press them at the right time to dodge them. You do this 3 times, you go up, you beat the shit out of her, and she tells you the same thing others tell you, you're no match for, and the next one is the Panda King. Who she says is going to blow you because he specializes in using fireworks to hurt people. So the page of the Thievius Raccoonus that we get from Ms. Ruby is from Slyton Common, Sly's Egyptian ancestor, who specialized in the ability to turn invisible by standing still, completely still. You know, kind of like how Drax says he can do in Avengers or whatever it is. You go to Panda King, you get to use the invisibility move, and he's in China. He's in like these snowy China mountains and things like that. And literally one of the first things he does is he shoots off a firework, and he causes an avalanche and completely buries a village in snow, which is like, we haven't seen any of the Fiendish Five do these really evil things yet. This is like the first time that we just walk up and we see a firework get shot off, and just like that, I don't know how many people were in that village, but they're all dead. So, and like, you know, that village is lost to time. We fight through. This level has the mission has another racing level where you race for ice cream instead of for hot dogs. So another level like that. It has a bunch of cool levels, a lot of characters doing martial arts, which is really cool. I forgot to mention, in the game, there is Inspector Carmelita Fox, who is a police officer that's constantly trying to chase us, but she's always too late, so she always comes in right after we beat the villain up, and she arrests them. And so she gets like this crazy reputation as someone who can't catch the Sly Cooper gang, but has all these other major arrests behind her. And she's also a love interest for Sly. So there's like sort of that romantic tension between them, because Sly's always being flirty and she's always so serious all the time. And so there are certain levels. So there was a level like this in Mesa City, where you start into the level, and for like the first half of the level, Carmelita chases you, trying to shoot you with, she has this weird cool pistol. It's a shock pistol. It shoots like these plasma bolts that electrify Sly if they hit him, and like kills him instantly. And so she's like, first half of the level, she's chasing after you, trying to shoot you, and you're just supposed to run away from her, and then you get your key. Then in let's see, so Miss Ruby's level was called Vicious Voodoo. Panda King's level is called Fire in the Sky, because of the whole fireworks thing. So and Carmelita, she chases you through the whole level this time, and she ends up like flying away on some, or she ends up, I don't know what happens exactly. You lose her somehow. I think it's because like she falls down a fucking avalanche or a mountain or something like that. But she's Carmelita. She's invincible. She can't die. And so we get to Panda King. Panda King tells us he's gonna beat the shit out of us with his new kung fu style called Flame Fu, which is basically firebending. Like if you know Avatar: The Last Bender, he's basically firebending. He like literally moves his hands around and makes fire. Like it's weird. I don't know how he does it, but it's awesome. It's a really cool fight. You beat up the Panda King, and then you discover that his section of the Thievius Raccoonus was for his for Sly's more mechanically inclined ancestor called Otto Van Cooper, who specialized in using vehicles and a lot of gadgets to perform his thieving. So like in the cutscene, what they show us is like him in a fucking plane. So with that section of the Thievius Raccoonus, they can make modifications to the to Murray's van that allows the van to have a turret gun on it, so you can shoot stuff, which works perfectly because the final member of the Fiendish Five, and the final level, is when we go to Billy calls it the Kakharov volcano in Russia, where is Clockwork. The ultimate main villain of the game, the guy who got all the Fiendish Five together because he hates the Coopers or something like that. And he's the ultimate main villain of the game. And the mission is titled The Cold Heart of Hate. Heart of Hate. And it's like super linear. There's really not any like levels to it. It's very a linear section. It takes place in a volcano. There's a part where he traps Carmelita. Sly almost fucking dies saving Carmelita. Then they call a truce. She's like, okay, you're not just some criminal. You actually risked your life to save me, even though you could have just left me here. So we'll call a truce for now until we beat Clockwork. And then she's like, I'll give you a 10-second head start. And so you play through the level. There's like lava slime monsters. There's mini clockwork birds flying around. One of them steals Sly's cane at some point. There's a giant fucking death ray that Clockwork is going to use to fucking destroy the world or something. There's a really difficult parkour section where you have to climb up the death ray as it's sinking into the lava. That part's fucking crazy. And then you get to the boss fight with Clockwork, where you use Carmelita's own jetpack to fight Clockwork in the sky as he's flying around, where he delivers everything, where he talks about, he's kept himself alive for hundreds of years. He's replaced all of his parts with machinery except for his mind and his brain and stuff like that. And he hates the Coopers so much, and that's how he's been able to keep himself alive for so long. You know, and he tells Sly's like, you could have killed me that night, because if you know so much about my family, you knew that they would have had a son. And that's where Clockwork is like, oh, I let you live to prove to the world that the Coopers are nothing special without their precious book. And that's where Sly's like, oh, you're wrong, because I make the book, not the book make me. And so Sly, they have this big fight. It's like a two-face fight where we knock Clockwork out of the sky, and then he's like sinking into the lava, and then we come up and we beat the shit out of him some more. Or it's like just his head or something like that. It's really kind of weird. But then that's it. We kill Clockwork. We beat the game. And the final cutscene is Sly and Carmelita having one final standoff, where Sly counts down the 10 seconds. And after the 10 seconds are up, Sly kisses Carmelita, and she's like completely fucking smitten in that moment. She like, it got like the hearts up on the screen. She can't believe that she just got kissed by this super hot guy. And then she looks down and she realizes that during that kiss, Sly handcuffed her to the railing. And so, but that's the story of the first Sly game, basically. So, bye guys.